Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Fran Coach's Franchising 101 webinar series. Today, we are excited to have another Franchisor Spotlight webinar. Today, our guest is Erin Zide from Archadeck. Archadeck is the leader in custom outdoor design living spaces, which is really the fancy way of saying they build some super cool stuff in your backyard. So, Erin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. We certainly appreciate this opportunity and everybody taking the time out of their busy day.
Cool. We've got a whole bunch of things to ask you, but we do want to let everyone else know with us today they can submit questions as well. Use the chat feature at any time to submit questions. Time permitting, we will knock those out at the end of the webinar. And before we start talking about our dream backyard, let's remind everyone who we are. Fran Coach is a national search firm. We are dedicated to working with individuals who are interested in owning a franchise. We are partnered with over 500 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 60 industries. We have two very basic goals with folks. Goal number one is to educate clients enough to determine if franchise ownership is the right path. Number two is to help each client find the absolute best franchise for them to own. And that, believe it or not, is actually the easy part. Best of all, there's never, ever any fee for our service. So that is a little bit about us, but that's not what we're here for. Erin, we are here to talk about Archadeck. Tell us a little bit about Archadeck. Who are you guys? What are you doing?
Well, as you mentioned, when you think about outdoor living spaces, which as we know is all the rage these days, if you look out your back window or your back door, anything you can dream up in the outdoor living spaces, with the exception of a pool, Archadeck can build for the client. So we do anything from hardscapes to beautiful outdoor decks, whether that's true wood decks or composite decking, four season rooms, screen in rooms, outdoor kitchens, fire pits, pizza kitchens. Really bring that vision or dream to the client's backyard. And we are there to help dream that up for the client. Most clients really don't know the potential of that backyard space until they truly meet with that Archadeck franchisee. And we are there to really bring that design to life and then follow that throughout the whole building process and make sure everything is done to their complete satisfaction. So it's a great opportunity to really extend their outdoor living spaces into the backyard.
Awesome. And anytime I look at the Archadeck website and the galleries or just even the slide, I feel like my 6-year-old in the toy aisle with Legos at Target when he wants all of it. I look at this and especially I've got a brand new house on 1 acre of dirt. How fast can we get Archadeck over here? This is just some amazingly cool things. So so it looks amazing. There's probably most people are going to think the same thing as me. At least some of these pictures and items that you can do, we would go, yes, I want that, I want that, I want that. What does the actual market look like for these services right now?
Well, I mean, that's what's so exciting. I mean, when you start to think about, the investment that people make in their homes, that's typically the largest investment people ever make in their lives. I mean, their home is their biggest investment. And no matter what else is going on in the market, that is the one place that we have found that people are still willing to spend their money, even if they're pulling back in other spaces. This is one area they really are not willing to cut back on. They just truly have become and have evolved into an educated buyer, Tim. I mean, they want to be educated and want to know that they are working with a true professional service that's going to be there for them and take care of them. And that's where Archadeck has established themselves for 4 decades as a luxury provider of these services. And we're actually the only kind in the franchise space to be a true full service design outdoor living builder in this franchise space, which is very exciting. But the outdoor living industry is constantly growing, and we kind of have two avenues where we really can work within, which is very exciting. You have new opportunities where people like yourself might be in this new home and they might be looking to envision this new outdoor living space. But you also have the whole remodeling side of things where people might have an older deck or backyard structure or front porch structure or screened in room that is in need of repair or maybe a complete tear down and rebuild. But the whole remodeling piece to Archadeck is also a very large part of it for our franchisees as well. So they are not just dependent on new projects. So they're able to really dip into two pools, right? They're able to dip into that new construction opportunity with new projects as well as the whole remodeling piece, which is very
Awesome.
exciting for them.
Y- Yeah, it certainly is. So you mentioned really, I mean, this is the franchise opportunity in this space. But what are some of the real differentiators for Architect versus Bob the Builder who thinks that they can do some of these things?
Well, that's a great thing to bring up because you're right. Almost every candidate that I ever speak to and take through this product and we go through the discovery process, right? They think, well, I see contractors all the time. What truly makes us different? So on top of being the largest at what we do and having 4 decades of experience behind us, you know, our franchisees come in with typically little or no experience in this industry. The advantage they have is they have our experience behind them and they have full service training and solutions behind them where we've already kind of gotten the bumps and bruises over the years and we're able to fully get them trained and up and running with very professional services to make them very efficient operators. We are the luxury brand in our industry, so we are looking for people that really can employ that in their own markets as well. So, we are there to be the differentiator. So, if somebody were to get a bid for their backyard space and they called Archadeck versus Bob the Builder, there should be a night and day comparison where it's apples to oranges. We're going to be producing beautiful renderings to show what that finished product is going to look like, give them a great visual by our professional drafters that are in house. We have very nice software solutions that are going to help with their pricing. We have a pricing and design specialist that's in house that will check that over before they actually go deliver that bid. So those proven systems really help showcase the difference. As you can see, you just put that slide up. You've got to kind of do a double take to see the difference. Which one's the rendering and which one was the photograph? Because they are so clear on showcasing what it really is going to look like with the end result. I mean, if you don't look at the furniture on the page, it actually looks like the end result of that deck. So
So
there's
what's really funny, Aaron, is I just did that, and I've looked at this slide a handful of times. I'm like, oh, that is actually the rendering, because that's one of the things people will talk to us about. Is people, especially coming out of the corporate world, which I know you get a lot of owners,
yeah,
individuals or husband and wife teams that are coming out of the corporate world, and the corporate world tends to just beat us to death. And we think whatever industry we've been in for the last 25 years is the only thing we know because it's next to impossible to leave it to go to another industry to get a job, right? So they're going to say, I don't know how to install this. I don't know how to do the design work. This is really key
right.
differentiators for Architect is they don't have to hammer, they don't know how to use the hammer, they don't know how to sit down with a pen and paper and draw this out. You guys have all the software and all the tools for them, correct?
You're right, we do, and we have the professionals in place that are going to make sure what they are proposing is structurally a sound structure that's going to make sense based on, the elevation of that property. What sort of ground is it on? Is it on a hill or a flat surface? What makes sense there? So they have the backing of a very smart and experienced team behind them to make sure what they're planning to propose is going to be the right proposal before they actually sit down to do that second call close with that client. So they're going to know their pricing is in line and their design is in line. And you brought up a good point. I mean, over almost close to 90% of our Archadeck franchisees have never been in the trade whatsoever. They've come from corporate, high level executive careers, and they are looking to make a shift. They want to get away from it, but they're also trying to find something that they're excited about. And Architect really seems to be that surprise concept for them that maybe they never saw themselves doing. It was kind of the one thing that they kept saying, "Gosh, I'd love to be outside, get some blue sky every day, work with residential homeowners that really want me there. It doesn't feel like a sale." But there's that tangible end result of that exciting project that got finished, and they seem to get a lot of satisfaction from that, and you have a really happy client in the end where you completely changed the way they live in their space. And that brings them a lot of satisfaction where yes, you work hard every day growing your new business, but it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a grind to them anymore. And they're building a business, they're networking, they're entrepreneurs, they've got that fire to build a business, but they aren't the ones with the hammer and nails. I mean, they are definitely implementing this project with all of the directions to do so, but they are hiring subcontractors that are localized professionals in their local markets that we help them vet, and we will help them make sure that it seems fit
The
for them.
families, the homeowners, right? Awesome. So who's doing the work?
The subcontractors in their local markets actually do the physical labor. So let's say you were doing a screen and porch down to a lower hardscape paver patio. So you would maybe need to have, your subs that were building your paver patio and put the structure up for the screen and porch, and you might need an electrician that is your electrical sub you built a relationship with that was going to wire the lighting for the interior of that screen and porch. So you build tight relationships with those subcontractors so that you definitely are referring them a lot of work and become top on their list, that they're going to prioritize your work as well.
Okay, awesome. And then so this is certainly we don't need a real retail location for this.
Yes. You do not need a retail space, which is a wonderful advantage that people have when launching an Archadeck. Not needing a retail space really cuts down on your overhead and startup expenses. Presentations to your residential clientele is when you're actually going to their properties and meeting with them. So there is no need for the overhead of a showroom. There is no need to pay that initial office expense in the beginning either. So what most people do is they work from home initially as they get their launch going. If they are not comfortable working from home, or there's young children at home or too much going on, some of them utilize there's the co-working office spaces that cost no more than a few $100s a month, and those are really convenient, and you can even rent out conference room space. So if you were doing a presentation and some clients needed to come in for a final showcase of the project, you would also have that ability to do that. But again, those don't cost more than a few $100s a month, and it really keeps your overhead low as you're starting the business. the last big benefit with that as well is that since the subcontractors actually do the labor for the job, you do not need a fleet of vehicles that you're paying for either. In your startup launch, typically the franchisee is the salesperson, project manager initially, and they're usually in their vehicle, in their own vehicle, but the subcontractors bring their own vehicles on the job, and they already have their own insurance as well. So that also saves you on workers' comp. So there's a lot of ways that new franchisees are able to save and keep that initial startup expense lower. Best things about Archadeck is the personal connections that you gain with Archadeck. That quickly snowballs into a great referral base with the clientele. So people always say, how am I going to gain, my clients as I open my business in my location? It has a large digital presence, which we work very hard with new franchisees on when they get started. Everybody's always Googling, of course, when they're looking to do an outdoor living project, which Archadeck, we look and work very hard to keep you front and center and at the top of those pages, both paid and organically. So we work to get you a lot of attention there, drive a lot of web leads to you, as many as possible, to get you up in front of those clients and give you those opportunities. And then as you get in front of those clients, we are going to give you that support on the back end, helping, making sure those designs are set, making sure that pricing is set. We have a very thorough sales process, a training process, so you're very comfortable with how to present, how to design, how to do the follow through to make the most out of all of those opportunities. We have a very strong team at our headquarters in Richmond, Virginia, that will help you all of the way through that process, whether you have been with Archadeck for 3 months or you've been with Archadeck for 30 years. That support is always there for you 365 days of the year. So that's very exciting. And again, once people see these stunning projects, whether it's neighbors, friends, relatives, it's kind of like the domino effect. Then everybody else wants the same, which certainly helps our locations get some quick momentum. So that's something that is a huge advantage, especially in such a high demand space that we live in with outdoor living, for sure.
Hey, Erin.
Yes. Well, welcome back.
Thanks. It was, as it turned out, it was time for my late morning nap, so I had to I had to duck out for a second. So one of the beauties of being in the franchise industry and being a business owner is that virtual nature. You can do your job anywhere, anytime you want, until you're doing it and you're in a hotel and it's past checkout and they try to cut off your internet and you get kicked off of your own live webinar. So,
very true.
Thank you so much for this. The one thing, I don't know if you had a chance to mention, but Archadeck is part of a larger organization, correct?
Yes, it is. Archadeck is one of 4 brands. I'm one of 4 franchise brands that we have here at Outdoor Living Brands. All of our brands are within the outdoor living industry, and thank you, Tim, for bringing that up. It was very intentional, and it was Outdoor Living Brands was created just shy of 12 years ago now, and it was created for the intention of really having this parent corporation with multiple outdoor living concepts underneath it, where people that joined our franchise system had the ability to really grow their personal franchise empire with us in one of 2 ways. So they have the ability, let's say that somebody becomes a franchisee with Archadeck and they are in one territory. They have a standard territory with us, and and they are just booming and they really have a good grasp on it. And a couple years later, they decide to grow horizontally, where they might take on additional territory in a contiguous area right next door, so they can actually have a larger Archadeck territory over time. So that's one great way that people can grow with us here and stay within the same brand. Then another way that they can grow, which some of our franchisees have certainly taken advantage of this as well, is they can go in multi-brand with us. So they might say, well, Outdoor Lighting Perspectives is the perfect fit for people that already have Archadeck. Every outdoor space that we create needs outdoor lighting as well. So what they do is they actually stay within the bounds of their current franchise territory that they have, and they actually license another one of our brands at a discount, and they're actually able to kind of double dip with their clientele on both sides, which is another terrific opportunity. So we're very blessed in that we have a very strong family of franchisees, many of which who've either expanded into additional territory within their same brand, or some have 2 and 3 of our brands over multiple years of just growing and getting really comfortable within the system. And that's been a great growth strategy for them. So we like to give people those options. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, because I think there's the growth. Obviously, the normal franchise growth adds territories to your how you start out, right? This gives you the opportunity of adding kind of the sister brands. It's the same customer. I guess would also give you the support if you're a new Archadeck owner and there's already an Outdoor Lighting Perspective in that same territory. Well, that's great kind of marketing synergy back and forth, or vice versa. And then two, and knowing you guys the way I do, just such a fantastic infrastructure from the franchisor standpoint to really help franchisees get started, but also really kind of achieve their long-term goals, whatever that might be. So yeah, I did want to make sure we let everybody know, both from a growth standpoint and just that fantastic support structure as well. So that is awesome. Erin, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your patience with us going through this today with a little hiccup. But we're so happy that you joined us, and now that we know there's some other fantastic brands, we might have to see if we can get you back and talk about some of the other ones as well.
Well, thank you. I certainly appreciate the time and the opportunity, and I hope that everyone found it helpful and informative. It was my pleasure.
Well, thanks. Yeah, no, and if there's, thank you and everybody for joining us today, and if this has kind of helped enlighten those interested in franchise ownerships to some of the amazing possibilities that are out there, that's fantastic. It's not just food. There's so much more out there. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a franchise owner for Archadeck or any of the 500 plus brands we are partnered with, let's definitely schedule a quick call. Shoot us an email, follow us on social media. Please be our friend there as well. And we hope to talk with everybody again very, very soon. Erin, thanks so much for your time, and have a fantastic day.
You too. Thank you all. Bye-bye.